have your predictions for this season changed? Mo, you said I was wrong on some stuff.
No, I was wrong.
I think we're wrong on stuff every year.
Warriors. I was a little bit higher on them and thought we'd have a little more from them. I didn't know we'd have several meltdowns from Draymond before the 30th game of the season. And I'm trying to think some of my others. I'm banging the drum. I was right on with Indiana, so pretty happy with that one. I don't remember the others.
I think we all were sort of pretty big on Denver as a repeat candidate. I think that the team that I've sort of been the two teams I've been wrongest about have kind of, in my mind, swapped places as the second best team in the East. And I think we all kind of didn't trust Philly. I think both the way they performed, the way Tyrese Maxey has performed, and the way they've reconfigured their roster with the Harden trade. And the Bucks, despite being second in record, I think that the level of discontent is high. Playing a bunch of close games, they went to overtime with Chicago again. They have been the most overperforming clutch team in the league this year. Their transition defense we've talked about a bunch. So I think that I think that is the biggest change that I've had. Is I think that I kind of have sort of swapped those teams in my mind, while still thinking that the most likely finals matchup is Boston-Denver.
Yeah, I think that's one of the bigger changes for me is that I feel a lot more comfortable with Boston at this point than I did at the start of the season. And I feel so much less comfortable with the Bucks. I didn't expect the Bucks defense to just dive off a cliff like it has. It's unsettling to a certain degree because they really, like, it's only that point of attack personnel, but then their perimeter defense just isn't what we expect out of a Bucks team. And so when they occasionally go through these scoring droughts, which isn't much, it just stands out. When they can't get a bucket and can't get a stop, it's very weird.
I mean, the bigger problem is they just play in transition defense. So like their half court defense is middling, but they give up the largest proportion of transition plays in the league. And that's so jarring from the having seen we'll do the basics well, which is sort of the 5 years of Budenholzer was, we're going to win all of our games against the bad teams because we're going to do the basics well. And they've still won those games, but there were teams that would had average margins of victory against bad teams, 10, 12, 14 points a game. And they're doing it by like 4 or 5. They're playing, like I said, clutch games against bad teams. And that's, they've ridden their luck on that, but it'll catch up to them eventually.
Yeah, but I just think like their perimeter defense is awful. It is just, there's only so much. It's what Rudy Gobert experienced in Utah. There's only so much Brook Lopez can do at the rim and so much Giannis can do rotating over at the rim when they just allow drive after drive after drive. And that's been a massive problem for them with everything that they have going. I want to go back a little bit because Dave's saying he's more comfortable with Boston. I'm going to throw this out there. That's almost
more
by
comfortable
default.
Than I was. More comfortable
than you were.
Right.
More comfortable than you were.
Yeah.
I want to make you a little more uncomfortable with that. It's their offense hasn't changed.
Oh no.
Porzingis
helps though. Yeah,
helps a ton. But their offense is exactly what it was last year, and
it's exactly what it's been for 5 years.
Yeah.
Mo, like it hasn't changed. Period.
But the issue with that is, I am going to be fascinated watching this team all year long at the end of games. It might not matter because A, their defense is going to be so damn good if everybody's healthy. And B, there are not a lot of teams in the East that are standing in their way. Where I look at it, going like, wow, like the trip there might be pretty easy for them. Easy-ish, I should say. With all that. So it might not matter, but it is their offense, and especially at the end of games, that I am fascinated about. Because they literally just run all game long, one action to an ISO. And you can live on that for a while, but I don't know if you can survive, if you can fully win on that.
I think that the optimistic take would be, and this is why I think we're all surprised, not necessarily that Porzingis has been good, but how vital he's become to them so fast. And I think it's like the Tatum Porzingis pick and roll. If that's your one action into an ISO, that's just the best single action that they've had in this time period. Like Horford pick and roll with Tatum is fine. Porzingis is just an order of magnitude more dangerous, more difficult to cover.
But it breeds other things, right? Like that's
Right.
Yes, you are 1,000% correct. And if it was just those two, and the ISO into one, the one action into an ISO with those two, and then everything else they ran regular offense, be like, that's freaking great, because then you can do other things. But then it becomes a situation where it's Jaylen Brown doing that. It becomes, they run an action that brings Jaylen Brown off a flare, and then it's ISO for Jaylen Brown. It's the distribution of all of these ISOs to me is wild. Like, how many guys are you going to allow to be just isolation players?
I would not allow Jaylen Brown. Just for the record,
I wouldn't allow Jaylen Brown. I wouldn't allow Drew Holiday. I wouldn't allow Derek White. Like, I wouldn't allow Horford. Like, there's a lot. Like, but they're all doing it.
I know.
I would like to see them, if Jaylen Wright, Drew Holiday gets a little guy on him. I would like to see them occasionally like run him into the post and let him bully ball if they get a smaller guard on him. I think that's especially with someone who can pass, obviously. That would be a good change of pace for them to use from time to time, because teams are a lot of teams are going to go small against them because you kind of have to. So there's going to be situations where he's going to have, I don't know, a TJ McConnell, a Tyrese Maxey, whoever else on him, someone he can either put in the basket or draw the help that then lets them play against rotation, which is, what you want to run an offense to do.
Yeah.